Ethan was a young YouTuber with a growing channel called Lost Places. He specialized in exploring abandoned and eerie locations, and his fans loved how raw and authentic his content was. Ethan prided himself on never faking a scare. Everything he captured was real. One day he received a message from a fan recommending a location deep in the Appalachian woods. The fan claimed it was a forgotten house no one had dared to explore. Curious and eager for fresh content, Ethan packed his camera gear and drove out to the remote spot. The house was exactly as described: ancient, crumbling, and isolated. Its walls were warped, the windows shattered, and a rusty rocking chair creaked on the porch, though there was no wind. The sight of it sent an uneasy shiver down Ethan's spine. This is Lost Places, and today we're at an incredibly creepy location suggested by one of you, Ethan said into the camera, forcing a smile. Let's see what we can find. Inside, the house was suffocating. The air was thick and damp, carrying a metallic tang that reminded Ethan of blood. Every creak of the floorboards echoed unnaturally, and he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The house was empty, or so it seemed. There was no furniture, no signs of squatters, and no animals. Just strange symbols scratched into the walls and an oppressive silence that felt alive. Ethan felt his chest tighten as he moved from room to room. The deeper he went, the harder it was to breathe. A strange pressure weighed on him, like the house itself was pressing down on his lungs. "This place is weird," he muttered into the camera, trying to hide his discomfort. After about 30 minutes, the feeling became unbearable. He stopped recording, muttered an excuse about needing fresh air, and left in a hurry. Back at home, Ethan reviewed the footage to see if the camera had picked up anything he missed. At first, everything seemed normal, just shots of the house's empty, decaying rooms. But as he watched more closely, Ethan's stomach dropped. In one clip, a shadowy figure stood in the far corner of a room, barely visible in the darkness. It was tall and humanoid but completely featureless. In another clip, as Ethan explored a hallway, the figure appeared again, this time much closer. Its hands rested on Ethan's shoulders, though he didn't react. He hadn't seen or felt it at the time. Ethan's hands shook as he paused the footage. He deleted every file from his camera and his computer, determined to forget the entire experience. Ethan suddenly stopped posting. Weeks passed and his fans grew concerned. His channel remained active, but there was no update, no explanation. The silence was unusual for someone as consistent as Ethan, but no one knew why he had disappeared. 6 months later, a video mysteriously appeared on Ethan's channel titled "The House in the Woods." Fans who clicked on it were confused. The video was a short, 30-second clip of the abandoned house. The footage was static-ridden and glitchy, jumping between different rooms of the house, showing the porch, the living room, and the basement stairs. There was no narration, no music, just the crackling sound of distorted audio. The video abruptly ended with the screen flickering to black. The sudden upload sent fans into a frenzy, flooding Ethan's social media accounts with questions. A day later, Ethan broke his silence with a post on his Instagram account. "I didn't upload that video. I don't know how it got there. I deleted every piece of footage from that house months ago." He went on to explain why he had taken a break. "After exploring that house, I became severely sick. I couldn't breathe properly for weeks and had strange nightmares about that place. I didn't want to talk about it, but now it feels like I have no choice." Ethan ended the post with a chilling announcement: "I'm done with YouTube. I'll be deleting my channel completely. I can't explain what's happening, but I don't want anything to do with this anymore. To everyone who supported me, thank you. This is goodbye." True to his word, Ethan's channel disappeared a few days later, leaving fans with more questions than answers. The mysterious video was never seen again, and no one has been able to explain how it was uploaded. Jake Turner was a rising Twitch streamer, known for his over-the-top reactions while playing horror games. His channel, Turner Terror, had gained a loyal fan base for his late-night streams. Jake loved the attention, especially when his chat tried to scare him with fake jump scare comments. It had become a running joke on his channel. One Friday night, Jake decided to stream a new indie horror game called The Hollow Depths. The game was rumored to be one of the scariest ever made, with an oppressive atmosphere and subtle, hidden scares. Perfect for his audience. Jake started the stream with his usual high energy. "What's up, guys? Tonight we're diving into The Hollow Depths. Let's see if this game can actually scare me." The game was unsettling. It had no music, just the sound of Jake's character's footsteps echoing through empty hallways. Occasionally, whispers or faint shadows would appear, but nothing outright jumped out. The tension built steadily and Jake was clearly unnerved. "Man, this game is creepy," he admitted, glancing at the chat. The chat, however, wasn't focused on the game. Messages started flooding in. "Jake, someone's at your door." Others said, "Behind you, dude." Another person said, "Who's peeking through the door?" Jake chuckled, brushing it off. "Nice try, guys. I'm not falling for that tonight. You're not gonna distract me with the whole 'someone's behind you' thing." But as he glanced at the game, the camera feed in the corner of the screen caught something strange. His bedroom door, slightly ajar, with what looked like a pale face peeking through. Jake didn't notice it. He kept playing, focused on the game, even as the chat grew frantic. One said, "No, seriously. Look at the door." Another said, "Jake, it moved." The others said, "What the hell is that?" Finally, Jake paused the game to address the chat. All right, let me look." He spun his chair around, flashlight in hand, and pointed it at the door. It was slightly open, just as always. "See? Nothing. You guys are just messing with me." He stood up, walked over, and shut the door firmly. "There. No more spooky door. Can we get back to the game now?" He sat back down, but some viewers noticed that when he closed the door, the pale face seemed to pull back, disappearing into the darkness. He kept playing, laughing off the chat's continued warnings. But his mood seemed to shift. He started glancing nervously over his shoulder, as if he wasn't entirely sure anymore. The game grew more intense, and so did the atmosphere in Jake's room. The air seemed heavier. His camera feed occasionally glitched, distorting his face or darkening the room for brief moments. Then the door creaked open again, this time wider. The chat exploded. "It's back." Some said, "Oh my God, do you see it?" Jake froze, staring at the chat. "All right, what's going on? You guys are really freaking me out now." He turned slowly to look at the door, but before he could say anything, the stream cut to black. Jake's stream never came back online. His channel went silent, and his fans flooded his social media, asking if he was okay. There was no response. The next day, a concerned friend went to check on him. Jake's apartment was locked from the inside. When the police broke in, they found the room exactly as it had appeared on stream, except for one thing. Jake was gone. His chair was tipped over, his headphones lay on the floor, and the door to his room was wide open. No signs of a struggle, no sign of Jake. The only oddity was his computer monitor, which still displayed the game's pause menu, despite the power being off. Weeks later, some fans claimed to hear faint whispers or see distorted images when rewatching Jake's old streams. Others swore they saw the same pale face peeking from the corner of the screen. Jake Turner was never found, and his disappearance remains unsolved. Hey guys, it's Sarah. I wasn't sure if I should share this, but I've decided to go for it because it's been on my mind ever since it happened. If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that I used to live in a rural area, near a forest here in Australia. It was quiet, peaceful, and honestly kind of creepy at times. This happened about 2 years ago, and even though we've moved since, I still can't shake the memory of it. The first thing I noticed was the noises. At night, I'd hear strange sounds coming from the forest, rustling, low moaning sounds, and occasionally what sounded like whispers. At first, I tried to convince myself it was just animals. I mean, living in Australia, you hear weird wildlife all the time. But then my dog Max started acting strange. Max is the calmest dog I've ever known. He never barks unless there's a good reason. But every night, around 2 or 3 a.m., he would start growling low in his throat, staring at the windows or the front door. Sometimes he'd bark like crazy, his fur standing on end. I'd get up to check, thinking maybe there was a kangaroo or a possum outside. But every time there was nothing there. Just the dark forest and the wind. Then the knocking started. At first it was subtle, just a light tapping on the front door. I thought it was maybe tree branches or the wind. But then it started happening on the windows too. Late at night, I'd hear this slow, deliberate knock on the glass as if someone, or something, wanted to get my attention. I'd grab a flashlight and check outside, but there was never anyone there. No footprints, no signs of anyone around. It was just empty. My husband thought I was overreacting, but even he admitted it was strange. The night that changed everything started like the others. Max was restless, pacing near the kitchen and growling at the back door. I was trying to calm him down when I decided to get myself a glass of water. Our kitchen window faces the forest, and as I glanced outside, I froze. There, standing just beyond the tree line, were 2 figures. They looked human at first, but something about them was off. They were tall, too tall, and their limbs seemed elongated, like they didn't belong to a normal body. Their skin was pale, almost glowing under the moonlight, and their faces. I don't even know how to describe them. They didn't look like faces. They were just standing there, completely still, staring at the house. I felt like my heart stopped. I called out to my husband, trying not to take my eyes off them. When he came into the kitchen, I pointed to the window, but by the time he looked, they were gone. He went outside with a flashlight to check, but there was nothing there. No signs of anyone, no footprints, no movement. That was the last straw for me. A few weeks later, we packed up and moved to a city area. I couldn't stay in that house any longer, not with everything that had happened. Now we're doing fine. We're happy and I feel much safer here. But I still think about those nights, about the noises, the knocks, and especially those figures in the forest. I don't know what they were, and honestly, I don't want to know. All I know is that whatever was out there, it wasn't human.